Alrighty then, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another motovlog. This time an evening motovlog, riding at night time. Always nice to mix it up a bit. Yeah, so I was pretty happy with the last video uploaded. There was no audio sync issues, which was a nice thing, and I was a bit disappointed that nobody left a comment, but you know, hey, you can't fucking ask people to do that shit. It just doesn't work that way. I forgot to do up my helmet again. That's the second fucking time I did that. And that really needs to stop swearing in my motovlogs. I'm going to try very, very hard not to swear in my motovlogs. Anyway, so yeah, I was also happy with the fact that I got a lot of views. Well, okay, not a lot of views. I got 20 views very quickly. It doesn't usually happen. Normally it takes 3 weeks or so for me to get 20 views. So that was good. So anyway, today, or rather tonight, excuse me, what I'd like to talk about is the do's and don'ts of restaurants. Now, I know that I've touched this topic a couple of times. He says a couple, but today I'm going to try and, just make a bit of a list of the things that you can or should and should not do in a restaurant. And most of them are on the back of tonight's service, which was damn busy and very, very frustrating, because there was a lot of freaking shite that I really did not like. So, number one thing, let's start from entering a restaurant right up until the point where you're going to leave, okay? So, when you enter a restaurant, do greet the hostess, okay? If the hostess or the host says, "Hi, welcome to the restaurant," look at them, acknowledge them. "Hi, table for 2 please. Hi, table for 3 please. Hi, booking under John Smith." Especially if there is a sign that says "please wait to be seated." If there's a sign that says "please wait to be seated," for goodness sake, please effing wait to be seated. All right? There is a reason why restaurants decide to do a seat, what do you call it? Allocated seating. So don't ignore the host. Don't ignore the receptionist, especially if there's a sign. Usually if there's a receptionist, it means that there's going to be allocated tables, which means that you need to wait to be seated. Okay? Alright, number 2. After you've sat down, do ask about specials. Because, and here's why, specials are always your best value, right? The specials are usually the things that the restaurant is trying to shift quickly. It doesn't necessarily mean it's old or something like that, because the restaurant might be running a promotion with their supplier to try and sell more of this item. So ask about the specials, because it's value for money for you, and it also helps the restaurant. Okay? Alright, so the third one would be, when you place your order, remember what you ordered. Okay? There are so many times, and this just drives me up the friggin' wall. Okay, sorry about that. It drives me up the friggin' wall, man. I will go and pick up some food from the kitchen, take it out to the table, and I'm standing there going, "Okay, chicken lasagna." And all of the friggin' guests on that table are looking at each other like, "Who ordered the chicken lasagna?" honestly, if you ordered a chicken lasagna, how can you not remember that you ordered a chicken lasagna? You know, it's not like it could be anything else. So just remember what the freaking hell you ordered, and then when it comes to the table, listen to the waiter, okay? Now, you might be thinking, why does that annoy you? Well, aside from the fact that it's wasting my time, especially if we're talking about fine dining restaurants, the plates are freaking hot, man. They come out from underneath heat lamps so that the food isn't cold when it gets to your table, right? So don't make the waiter stand there with searing hot plates on his arm while he's trying to figure out who ordered what, okay? So, the next thing, if your food has just arrived to the table, please make it a point to remove your phone or your handbag or your magazine or whatever it is from in front of you, okay? There is absolutely nothing worse than when you're trying to put a plate down on a table and there's somebody who's left their phone literally right there and you're trying to put the plate down but they're not moving their phone. Okay, and you know, it feels really awkward to reach down and touch someone else's property and move it out of the way. Just don't, you know, when your food arrives, just clear the shit and clear the stuff in front of you. Alright? Because I tell you right now, you come into my restaurant and you leave your phone in front of you while I'm trying to put hot plates on the table, I'm just going to put it on your phone, alright? If you don't move it out of the way, I'm just going to put it on your phone because, you know, and this is not just me, right? This is a universally hated thing in hospitality, okay? It happens to all of us and we all hate it, right? Oh yeah, here's a good one, right? Try not to overwhelm the waiter with questions if you don't think that he'll be able to answer them. I had a customer tonight that was asking one of my Bangladeshi waiters. Now don't get me wrong, he's a very good waiter and he's very competent. But he's not a fucking forgive me. He's not a freaking sommelier. Okay? He doesn't know a lot about wine. He might be able to tell you a couple of things about our house pour selection, but he's not going to be able to recommend to you, that this particular wine is like this. Friggin' a-hole. He's not going to be able to recommend to you, that this wine is like this, and it tastes like this, and that, and that, and this, and that, and the body is like this. He's not going to be able to do that. So please, if you have if you want to ask these questions, your best bet is to ask the manager on duty, okay? Now I should mention that this does mostly pertain to Malaysia, as most of your servers will be Muslim, which means that they won't drink. So they're not going to know anything about wine, other than what they've been told. And because they also don't have an interest in wine, a lot of the information that is taught to them doesn't absorb, it doesn't sink in. So don't overwhelm them, don't confuse them, just, if you want to ask, some in-depth questions about a wine, ask to speak to the manager. Or if you're in a nice swanky place, then ask if the sommelier is around, because most high-end restaurants will have a sommelier on staff. Okay? When you've finished placing your order with a waiter, make it a point to make sure that the waiter repeats the order to you, okay? If the waiter doesn't repeat the order to you, ask them to do so, okay? And if they repeat the order, please, for the love of goodness, listen to them, okay? Because there is nothing more difficult for us, like me as a manager, to have to go to a table and hear a complaint about, oh, I didn't get this and I didn't get that, or this isn't what I ordered, when if the order hasn't been repeated. Yeah, sure, that might be the waiter's problem, but it's also your problem because you didn't make sure that the waiter got your order correct. And additionally, right, if the waiter did repeat the order to you, that means that I have to come up to you and say, look, I'm sorry, I know that you think you didn't order this, but you did, because my server repeated the order to you, and you confirmed, you said, yes, that's correct. Okay, I don't want to be in that position. That's a very, very difficult position to be in. Have you ever been in a restaurant and had your manager tell you that you were wrong? I mean, like, it could be the fact that, there's this sort of idea in hospitality that the customer is king and the customer is always right. Yes, okay, we make you feel like you're always right. It doesn't mean that you are always right, okay? So, to avoid any problems, make sure that your order is repeated and make sure that you're listening carefully when the server repeats the order to you. So to put that into a bit more perspective, I want to actually tell this story because this one actually ended pretty well, right? I had some guests last night, and when I went, I took their order personally, and when I took their order, they ordered an iced latte and a pasta, and when I repeated the order to them, I said, just one meal and one drink, is that correct? And they said yes. And I said, okay, so one pasta, one iced latte. Yes. So that's twice that they confirmed. Right? So then later on, I went to go check on the table just to see how everything was going. And they asked me, where is the rest of our food? Now, because I took their order and I know that I repeated the order to them twice and they confirmed it twice, then I said, no, this is it. This is all you ordered. And then they said, no, we ordered this and this. And I said, guys, I'm sorry, I repeated the order to you. And I said only one pasta and one drink. Now, it was at this point that the guests kind of must have realized that they didn't order. Because for the first time in my entire life, they actually said, oh, I'm so sorry, it must be our mistake. Is it too late? Can we still order this? And of course, if a customer is, will admit their fault and is polite about it, then I will go to the ends of the earth for you. I will go to the ends of the earth for them. I will make that thing happen. So even though the kitchen had already closed, I went into the kitchen, I grabbed the head chef who was just about to go, and I said, mate, can you please make these dishes? The guest made a mistake. And the chef, who, head chefs, usually once they've clocked out, you don't mess around with them, you just let them go home, right? But the chef himself said, okay, no problem. He fired up the grill, he did the stuff, and we sent it out. Those customers ended up leaving very happy, and they even dropped a 20 ringgit tip, which is great, and I'm so glad that it went that way, because I've had so many more situations where a customer hasn't listened to me repeat the order, or they've decided that they want to try and tell porcupines and say that they ordered this or didn't order this to try and get out of something or add something on. And then when you when I'm forced to go up to them and say, hey guys, I'm sorry, but this is all you ordered, right? And then they'll get all, uppity at me, like, blah, 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 customer is always right, blah, 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 right? When customers act like that, right, it doesn't make me want to help them. In fact, it makes me want to do the exact opposite. So, yeah, please just, make sure that the server repeats the order, and please make sure that you listen when they do, because it will make everybody's life so much easier. I think that a lot of people don't really realize what it's like to be a waiter in a busy restaurant when you've got 50 orders to run out and you've got people waving at you left, right and center asking for service. It can be very, very confusing, all right? And let's face it, not everybody that works in hospitality is the brightest spark. It's a service industry. You don't need to be highly educated to do it. So, if you're not listening properly, then, don't be surprised when things go badly. Nah. It's so frustrating. I can't get it. I cannot find the sweet spot. There's been a couple of times, right, where I've done wheelies, hit the balance point, carried it on for, you know, a good amount of time. Well, maybe not. Okay, good amount of time for a beginner. We'll try to do one more. Maybe we'll get lucky. Nah. I mean, well, the front wheel came up like about an inch. I suck at wheelies, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Catch you later. Bye.